necessary action. What's the difference? Like, what advice would you give him? Like, you gave a little bit of your background, which is fucking amazing, right? Like, blows you away. But what is it that, like, what's going to get these guys to the level that you're at?
I know exactly what it is. Balance is bullshit. So
make sure you post it, and we're gonna go from there. All right. So with that, this is a guy that inspired me, right? Like back in the day, like this guy lived in. Just so you guys know a little bit, like I'm gonna tell a little bit of story because I don't know if you're gonna go back this far. This guy, like my mentor, hired this guy. He was living on somebody else's fucking couch, and hired this guy, and he came and lived in my mentor's basement and built his fucking business, okay? And so, like, I'm going to let him tell his fucking story, but this guy, yeah, he's a genius, yeah, he's this and that, but let him tell you his story of who he really is, what he really went through, what his mind went through, and what his why is. And so with that, we're going to start. Go ahead and tell your story. Where did you come from? Where did you come from?
Yeah, like, so for some of you guys do know me because I can see like Robert Parrish. What's up? But for those who don't, yeah, my name's Shiv. Basically, my entrepreneurial story started 5 years ago when, just like you guys, I got on a scheduled call and I got told, hey, you got to make a decision. And I didn't want to, but I did. And I made a decision and I jumped in a program that taught me local lead gen and was able to make it work. I was 20 at the time. I didn't have a lot of resources, and I bought it on I actually put it on a credit card, and my logic was really simple. My logic was, well, if I'm going to be broke, I might as well be more broke, right? I might as well be $6,000 more poor, because if more I have, what are you going to take away from me? I have nothing to lose. So I jump in, and I just figured out how to hustle and make it work. So I was in community college. I was already listening to, like, we have calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so I'd listen to those calls with like an ear pod through my hoodie in class, and in marketing class in community college, being like, I'm going to learn how to actually do this. And it got to a point where I was making about $6,000 a month, something like $6-7 grand, which is a lot of money in general, but especially when you're in community college at 20. I thought I was the richest person on planet Earth. That's where I got to know Josh's mentor, my mentor, Dan, really well. And that led to Dan saying, hey, dude, if you can sell and you're killing it, like, why don't you come help work for me and help on the coaching side and like what he does, right? And so I flew over to Dan's house. He said it wasn't even a working thing. He just said, hey, do you want to visit and stay in my guest wing? Is what Dan said. He's like, hey, dude, I've never met a student at this point in real life. He's like, do you want to come over to my house and stay in my guest wing? And I was like, I've heard of people have guest rooms. I've never heard of someone having a guest wing in their house. I'm like, that's a guest wing? Like, yeah, that sounds insane. And I come over there, and the guy has an elevator in his house, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous, right? And now he has a Lamborghini, but at the time he didn't. But like it kind of was like opening to me. And so 3 days go by, and I'm showing him all these different things, like, you know, I was showing him video editing and like what we can do with different things in the business. And then he goes the day to drop me back off at the airport, and I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, dude, can you just stay? Can you, like, you're staying tonight? And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, should I just book my flight for tomorrow? Like, stay one extra day? And he goes like, no. You're staying, like, cancel your flight. You're not going anywhere. And he just said, I want you to just be here. And so I never did. I didn't even return back to grab my stuff. I was in Irvine, California at the time. I didn't even go back to grab anything. I just bought new clothes. And just, yeah, so, and that's it. So it's been 5 years. Obviously, like, now I live in San Francisco with ePay, who you saw earlier on. And then I turned that $6,000 to, you know, really, really big business, big income. And so, you know, for me, I think we're just talking like just different, is there like a theme or just really like just advice, entrepreneurship advice? What are we doing here?
All right, so check it out. So with these guys, I don't make a theme, I just fucking raw.
Like, I can do
like
it.
What the fuck like sets you apart? Like, what's the difference between you and another motherfucker on here.
Yeah.
Like that maybe doesn't have, he has $0 in business right now, but he's been in for 3 months and he just hasn't taken the necessary action. What's the difference? Like what advice would you give him? Like you gave a little bit of your background, which is fucking amazing, right? Like blows you away. But what is it that like, what's going to get these guys to the level that you're at?
I know exactly what it is. Balance is bullshit. So one of the biggest mistakes people do in this business, and I say it over and over and over again, is that you get too logical, right? If I do an hour a day, if I do this or that, like let me segment out when I'm doing business or not. To me, the secret that's led to like my success has been I was 100% in. Like I did nothing. Literally, I remember from when I was 21 with Dan, I literally would, from early morning to night to 2 in the morning, wake up at 6 or 7. Sometimes I'd sleep on the carpet of the office, like Dan's like office, and not go back to my place. And I just said, I'm going to take a small period of my life, and I'm just going to be 100% in to figure this out. And I went literally in 3 months. I went from, I think I was making like $7,000 a month, $8,000 a month to $40,000 a month in 3 months of just doing that. And so for a lot of people here who like don't believe in the whole balance thing, be willing to sacrifice other categories of your life. Like you should actually have a moment where you do nothing but focus on your business. And yeah, your kids are going to get neglected. Like maybe you don't, maybe you're not as, there's going to be like other categories of your life that maybe you're not going to eat as healthy this 3 months, right? But you're going to put your focus on your business. Everything else is just whatever. And that's the key. And too many people are playing it like they're dabbling and they never just say, hey, I'm so committed to my business that everything else can fall at the wayside. I don't care. I'm not even going to look left or right. And I did that. Like when I say I did nothing except work in my 20s, I literally did nothing for 2 years except work. And now, like today, like I have so much residuals from that effort. And that's kind of the best advice for everyone. It's just suck it up. And if you're going to take the pain, take real pain right now and just do it. Because otherwise you're always going to be, it's like 9 to 5. If you always do it, if you're not 100% in, then you get to just work 40 hours forever. Really successful people work 80, 100 hours. They're mentally all in. So eventually they don't have to be. And so to me, that's my best piece of advice for everyone.